Seattle Seahawks 2022 roster grades. The worst team in the NFC is coming. NFC West, my bad. Coming into the season, we'll see how we can do the roster grades. Oh boy. As always, welcome to another NFL, guys. Like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy. First, we're just gonna talk about the news. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are signing Carl Nassib, outside linebacker, to a one-year deal. He's actually a pretty good player. I wouldn't say he's a great player. Not a great. He's more of a what is he saying? He's better in the run game, but yeah, I think that's a good sign for the Bucs. And then the Rams are without Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. That's a little bit concerning, but it's not that big of a deal. And Damian Woody all in on Dalvin Cook in the Vikings offense. I like that, but I don't think it's going to be sustainable. I'll just be straight up honest with you. Dalvin Cook's probably going to get injured with that. But yeah, Seahawks 2022 roster grades. Here we go. Okay, guys, so always starting with the quarterback. I'll just be straight up honest with you. Geno Smith, he's a backup quarterback. He's a decent backup quarterback. He had good stats. But just straight up honest with you, he's not a starting caliber quarterback by any means. He's a backup. Drew Lock is awful. And people do overreact to the fact they think he's that bad. There's really nothing to support that. His statistics are not good, but they're not absolutely like, oh my God, that bad. They're not good. But if you watch him on film, that's when you realize he's so bad. His footwork is terrible. His arm strength, he has a good arm. But his mentality on the field just doesn't even up because he's so indecisive, too. It's not that he doesn't have confidence. He's just indecisive. He doesn't really put the ball in the right place as well. His ball placement is terrible. His arm strength, yeah, he has arm. Other than that, he's really just bad. His decision-making is probably the worst I've ever seen, really. And then you got Jacob Eason here as well. Jacob Eason threw an interception to Jalen Ramsey. That's literally all you need to know. The Seahawks quarterback room is literally, like, by far the worst in the NFL. Okay, I'm going to give him an F. Like, that's literally what I'm giving them. Could they be better than that? Yeah, probably, but they're an F. Time for this running back room. Okay, Rashad Penny. He was a huge bust up until last season. I do think Rashad Penny could actually be decent. I have a Penny. Yeah, Rashad Penny, I do like him now. He's actually always been a guy who's hit the right hole usually. He has really good ball carrier vision his whole career. His thing is he wasn't explosive and he wasn't decisive. Like, when he hit the hole, he just wasn't explosive. Last year, he was so explosive. 623 yard per carry, led the NFL. He had 190 attempts for 49 yards, 6 touchdowns. So efficient. He just wasn't efficient playing that, just plain and simple. And in 10 games in 2019, he actually was pretty darn good, to be honest with you. But people, like, coming into the league, he was supposed to be a really good receiver. He's just not been that. And I don't think he'll ever be that, like, when that's the problem with him. But when you look at it, yards before carry and yards after carry are pretty much similar, which is it's pretty good when you have that. He broke 10 tackles as well. And then we look at broken tackles per rush is 3.1. No, that's not right. Where is it? Rush downs per 11.9. So every 12 runs, he basically breaks a tackle, which is pretty good. Yeah, I really do like Rashad Penny. I still think he's not the greatest, but still. Kenneth Walker, he's got the potential to be a really, really good running back. I like him more than a lot of other people do, like even more. Here's my one problem with Kenneth Walker. Against really good teams last year, he got absolutely shut down. But he led the nation in rushing yards. He was a Heisman favorite for a little while. And he's just so explosive, big play guy. Not a great receiver, though. Good power back. That's pretty much what he is. Travis Homer, good tool guy. I don't know how to put him. Kind of like Rex Burkett, except not as good. DJ Dallas is a bum. I've come up with that after a while. He's just not good. His yards per carry are pretty good, but you got to realize, he can't. What is that picture? Bro, they can't have that on there. Either way. TJ Dallas, he's actually pretty efficient, I'll be honest with you on that, but he's supposed to be a pure runner, which he just hasn't been in his career. No big plays. That's my one problem with him. But that's his running back room, which is pretty interesting. Okay, for this running back room, C+. I think they're good. I think they're a little bit above average. I don't think they're anything special, but they got three or four guys that I can be very confident in. Rashad Penny, I think can be a starting caliber back this year. He just needs to be as consistent as he was last year for me really to prove that. And of course, I feel terrible for Chris Carson. He had to retire because of his neck injury, but that's just sad. So now let's get to this wide receiver position. Of course, Chris Carson was their number one running back. He was actually really good. Had so much potential. Just got hurt. Injuries derailed his whole career. Now let's get this wide receiver going. Okay. Tyler Lockett, I kind of already talked about it. This dude is just a deep ball machine. If you think of, who was it? Oh, yeah. Shoeless Joe. That dude, that's basically Tyler Lockett. Shoeless Joe could catch any fly ball. He knew where it was going before it came after the bat. Tyler Lockett attracts deep balls like it's a magnet. He's so good at that. Best in the NFL for sure. DK Metcalf, he is just a physical freak. His release has gotten better over the years. I think he still needs to work on it. But he makes big plays. There's a reason he had an 84-yard touchdown. If he can be more consistent next year with his route running like he was in 2020, and even if if Drew Lock can just throw it off to him, he'll catch it. That's the one thing I think that's how they're going to win. With an elite rushing attack. Top 5 rushing attack from these 4 guys. And Drew Lock just chucking it up to DK Metcalf. I think that's how it's going to work. Freddie Swain, he's very underrated. He looks like a beast on film. My one problem with Freddie Swain is he for a slot in a wide receiver, he just doesn't run the best routes. Like, his route running is just not sharp. That's the one problem with him. D.S. Speed Demon really struggled last year, though. Bo Melton, I think he was at Bama. Yeah, he went to Rutgers. Bo Melton's a kind of a ball, I'll be honest with you. He's pretty fast, though, can get over the top. But he's just not really a good route runner. Terrible release. He can get absolutely just demolished at the line. But other than that, I don't think he's the worst guy. Marquise Goodwin, Speed Demon again, but he's old. He can still get deep, though. I like Marquise Goodwin a lot. Hamstring, lined up, Saturday string is, he didn't play Saturday, but whatever. Marquise Goodwin, good vet for this team. I really do like him. Penny Hart, kind of a bum. The rest of these guys are bums, but you got 6 receivers I'm kind of confident in, and you got a really good 1-2 punch. Low key, I'm gonna give this receiving core an A- because Tyler Lockett and DK are top 5 duo, like at receiver. You could argue it maybe, but those guys are 2 top 15 receivers. Or Lockett's top 20, DK's fringe top 10, 12, 11. Not many teams have that, and not only that, I think they have really good depth. A- is what I'll give them. Comes out to 19.20. Time for this tight end position. Noah Fant, of course, the big guy coming over in that deal for Russell Wilson. He's a beast. Still can't block. Still doesn't run sharp routes, but he's a beast. He's so athletic. Maybe if his hands can develop a little bit and his route running can just underneath can become a little more furnished, I think he'll be good. Will Dissly, I actually like Will Dissly. He's never really been the guy to get over the top. He's been good in the red zone in his career. Really good underneath, a reliable blanket guy, and he can block as well. Cody Parkinson. Didn't really get much playing time last year. He will this year, though. And I do think he is a good blocking tight end. He really does need to work on his route running, if I'm going to be honest there. Other than that, though, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, he's so bad. Like, he's just so bad. I don't even need to talk about it. He's just so bad. That's his tight end room, though. Pretty good. Tight end, B. I think Noah Fant's fringe top 10. He doesn't have really proved it yet, so maybe not. But they've got 2 other tight ends I'm pretty confident in. P for them. I think it's a good tight end room for sure. 3.67 plus 8 is 11.67 at 15. So overall, other than this quarterback room, I don't think it's been a bad offensive hard time for this offensive line. Okay, this offensive line starting out with Charles Cross. Charles Cross needs to work on his run blocking. That's just the bottom line. They need him to be able to set the edge for these runners that really like getting outside the tackle, especially Kenneth Walker, who has some really good speed. Not only that, though, Greg Eland is so bad. Like, why is he a backup? Like, really. Out of Mississippi State at UDFA, this Greg Eland was so bad. Like, he got just so bad. Who else? Damian Lewis. Damian Lewis is actually a decent player. He's been really raw. He's still really raw. He actually had a promising year in 2020, but last year he really did take a step back, especially in the run game. In the pass game, meh. And pass blocking, not bad, but like I said, took a step back. 2020, he was pretty good. And then, of course, you have Kyle Fuller's the center. Kyle Fuller's a bum. I'll just be straight up honest with you on that. He is a bum. Like, he's just a scrub. Like, terrible. But Phil Haynes I like. He's been consistent. He's not been the worst guy in the world, really. as a backup. Austin Blythe used to be a starter, not a bad backup at all. Gabe Jackson, probably the best or most established guy in this team. He's solid, very solid. Pass blocking can definitely need some work in affiliates, of course, there. Abraham Lucas, not great. Below average, but he's not a liability. Jake Surin, I don't think his PFF grade's gonna come out as great because when I watched him on film, he looked off. Yeah, he wasn't great. But yeah, when he came in for some snaps, I remember we blocked for Russell Wilson. He wasn't anything special. So yeah, that's his offensive line. It's not the worst in the world, but it's definitely not good at all. Okay, offensive line, I'll give him a C minus. I don't think they're really that bad, but they're not really that good either. The challenge just isn't there. They have some depth though, and their starters aren't like super duper bad. They do have a couple of scrubs though. D tier, no, because they have 3 guys they like, and it's not the worst offensive line you could have. So 6 plus 2.33 is 8.33 out of 16. Not great. Time for his overall offensive grade and average. Okay, for this offense, the points comes at the atrocious 51 out of 100, which, if you want to know, that's like an F. But I don't think they're that bad. I'll give them y'all give them a D. I'll give them a D. Because they have weapons. I don't think this is the worst offense in the world. Their quarterback situation is absolutely brutal, though. That's why they get the D. I don't think they're D minus territory, because they're not like so bad. If this receiving core wasn't here, it would be a D minus. If this offensive line and it's really hard to get anything lower than a D. D minus is when you just don't have anything higher than like a B. And like you have something like an F. But you can literally get an F is if you have literally nothing. But they have something. So that's why they get like a D. The quarterback group is so bad though. You gotta remember that. That's why they got 51 points. Time for this defense. Okay, defense, starting out with the linebackers, of course, forgetting the outside linebackers because those guys are pass rushers. But Jordan Brooks, he's proven to me this dude is a stud. I would, honestly, yeah. He led the league in tackles. He's not the best in pass coverage, but he gets the job done. I mean, he didn't lead the league in tackles, but, yeah, he did lead the league in tackles. But, yeah, Jordan Brooks is a stud. Not the best in coverage, but he has improvement. Cody Barton, very reliable in coverage, hasn't really gotten to play a lot because he's just not a great tackler. Like, I've just learned that over the years. Allen Robinson, why do I think he's a rookie? He's not. Don't take his excuse. Literally doesn't get any playing time, but I remember he had a sack, so he'll definitely get a lot more chance. Not him, my bad. Laken Williams. Oh my gosh. I don't know who this guy is. That's just the truth about it. I don't know who Laken Williams is. Iggy Igubaki, okay. 2018 4th round pick out of Chicago. He played with Chicago in 2018. I remember he got absolutely destroyed. In the preseason, I've watched some of his film. This dude is not bad whatsoever. He's got a lot of potential, and he's still somewhat young, so we can see what he does. But he definitely needs to step up this year in pass coverage because he really gets burned on corner routes for sure. Because his agility and his length are just not there right now. That's his linebacking core though. The fact that Jordan Brooks kind of saved him from going into D tier, but that gives him a C minus because it's literally just Jordan Brooks. Like, they have no one else. In fact, the guy word of Bobby Wagner doesn't help as well, but Jordan Brooks is kind of a replacement. He's not even close as good as he is, but obviously, he is a replacement and not a bad replacement at all. 2.33 plus 9 is 11.33 out of 20. So it could be better, but I think they're treading water. Time for this defensive line. Another player who came into the what is it called, Russell Wilson deal, Shelby Harris. I want to show you his stats. Shelby Harris has been was a reliable guy in Denver his whole career. Of course, he was in Oakland for 2 years for some random reason. But he's had a solid 6 sacks most seasons. In 2020, he really did struggle because of injuries and the fact he just could not get to the quarterback. Like, he just consistently got beat. His power moves were not there. His finesse moves were, but he wasn't doing them quick enough. Not only that, though, his second move is just not there anymore, sadly. But he did show a lot of potential still. His power, I think, came back last year. Not only that, though, on what is it called? He had 18 pressures and 6 sacks, which is good conversion. Not only that, though, he had 5 quarterback knockdowns. He gets at the quarterback when he needs to as well. Reliable guy there. Quinton Jefferson is a beast. I'll just be straight up honest with you. So much potential when he was younger, but he's just older now. But he's still reliable there. Al Woods, big man, up the middle. That's literally all you need to know. He not as good as he used to be at getting off quarterback, but he's 35 for a reason. And Brian Moe needs to step up. Like, I just gotta be straight up there. He consistently can't stop. They consistently can't stop the run with him as that guy. He needs to step up. Poona Ford, big man, really good at stopping the run. Has some really good athleticism. Can still get after the quarterback somewhat. This defense has been really good at stopping the run. The fact they lost, do they still have Kerry Hyder? Kerry Hyder, I like a lot. He's not here anymore. But this defensive line, I gotta admit, it's like none of these guys are, other than Quentin Jefferson and Poona Ford. Well, Al Woods and Poona Ford are the guys here to stop the run. The other guys are more geared to stopping the pass rush, but they usually make it work, so I'm fine there. LJ Collier's a bust. 2020 kind of gave you some hope, but I think we finally know what he is. Okay, legitimately, C+ for this offensive line. I like defensive line. I like, the one thing is just, will they be good enough to kind of like lag on this defense? The passers, I don't think will be there in terms of what we expect it to be, but if they can just if they can just create some penetration in the run defense, it'll really help the linebackers. Okay, this pass rush, Darrell Taylor, he had 6.5 sacks last year. He's really consistent at getting after the quarterback. I really do think he is. The one problem with him is he's kind of blitz heavy. If he doesn't have to rely on the blitz as much as you can be that consistent guy off the edge, I think he'll be really good. Uchenna Nwosu, wasn't he a third-round pick, too? Yeah, he was second-round pick last year, actually. Or 2 years ago in Tennessee. I remember watching in college. Uchenna Nwosu, he's going to be their number one. Kind of a weak number one, to say the least, but he's definitely a better number two. Boya Mafe, oh my gosh, Boya Mafe is so much potential. He's more of a power rusher off the edge, which isn't exactly advantageous for this defense that really needs a guy who can get after quarterback consistently. But, man, this guy is super athletic. Not only that, though, he's so explosive on his first step. His second and third step just are elite as well. If he can if his hands can get quicker, and he can be able to just, like, he can use more, his power move is more, like, I don't know how to say, efficient or clinical, or just, like, more productive, I'll put it that way. His power move's more productive, then he could be one of the best edge rushers in the NFL. But then, of course, Alton Robinson, very raw as well. I kind of already covered him, but he definitely needs to step up this year. Tyreek Smith hasn't really played much, but at Ohio State, he was a solid pass rusher. I meant in run defense, but good at setting the edge. He was never really a pass rusher. And, of course, this defensive line gives them some pass rush as well. They don't know a true number one yet. Boya Mafe can definitely be that, but I still really, really like this pass rush in terms of the depth. Okay, since they don't have a number of pass rushers, there's no way I'm giving them a B tier. Unlike, I think I'll be honest with you, I think the Cardinals, I kind of did give them a pass in the pass rush, but they usually have a good one, so whatever. Now back to the Seahawks. I do think the Seahawks have a good pass rush. I like it, but there's no way I give them anything higher than a C+. But I really like what they have, especially since it's more. There's so many guys that can get after the quarterback on this team. Not only that, though, they can finish. They can finish really well. They just don't have that elite guy just yet. Can't come at anything higher than a C+. You know, I'll leave them at a C. I'll be more realistic. I kind of give it to a lot of teams, but I'll be a little more strict than the Seahawks. Time for this cornerback room. Okay, Sidney Jones. He was good 1 year. I thought it was 2020 or 2019. Sidney Jones, though, super talented guy, cannot stay on the field whatsoever. Like, last year, he was actually pretty darn good. He was one of the better corners in the league. 2020, I think he was even better, even though his stats don't say so. 2019, he wasn't great. 2018, he was so bad in 2018. But I like Sidney Jones a lot. I think he can be a number corner, but he's just not on the field. Artie Burns is probably one of the worst starting cornerbacks in the NFL. Artie Burns is horrible. Like, just absolutely horrible. He gets burned so many times. The only reason he's starting, though, is because he's pretty darn good in press. Forget the PFF creative. Literally. Just literally forget it. Artie Burns is not good. Like, on film, he's just not. The reason they get it is, though, because they prefer, I'll be straight up honest with you, they prefer press corners. And that's literally what he is. But you put him on anything but that, he's not the guy. He's a backup as well. So he's going to start this year. We'll see what he can do. Maybe he proves me wrong, but what I've seen other than stuff in press, and especially, he's really struggled when he needed to, like in 2018, to make tackles. And not only that, though, he gives a 65% completion because he's just not fast. He gave 2 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns in 2018 with Pittsburgh. Artie Burns is just not the guy right now. That's my opinion on him. But he's really good at press, too. Trey Brown, he's out for a little while, I guess. But this dude, rookie last year, didn't really get much playing time. This year he'll get a lot more playing time out of Oklahoma. This dude really needs to step it up, though, because they need that third slot guy. But Kobe Bryant, kind of the wingman, kind of honestly unforgotten to, who is it? I literally forgot it. Sauce Gardner. But Kobe Bryant I like a lot. He's more of a zone corner, though. He's not going to be able to play man-to-man, shut down those other guys. But there's a reason he was picked in what round? Was it the 5th round or something? Actually, the 4th round. But I think he'll be decent in the NFL. Justin Coleman, kind of a bum now, really washed up. But a couple years ago, maybe he can get back to his old self. Maybe he can be good. He's really a slot. But yeah, that's his cornerback. If Artie Burns can prove he's not a backup, this is definitely a average cornerback room. But the depth isn't really there, and they don't really have a true number 1 as well. Even a number 2, Sidney Jones, if he's not on the field, they don't have a number 2 corner. True number 2. They don't even have a number 1 to start out with. That's why I gotta give him a D+. I don't think they're that bad, though. I really don't think they're that bad. But Artie Burns, there's a lot of question marks as well. That's why I have to give him that. On paper, it's like a D+. Okay, 1.67 plus, or 2 plus 6 is 8 out of 20. Pretty darn bad. Time for the safety run. Okay. Jamal Adams, I'll get this out of the way first. Love him, read him. He's a top 10 corner. He's a top 10 safety. Yep, I said it. He's really good in the box. Not as good as he used to be, but his athleticism is still there. And he has the potential, I think, he has the potential to be a very good cover safety, which is what he's going to need to be. He just needs to be more consistent, especially his ball skills need to step up because he's proven that he can be a good coverage on film. Maybe not as consistently as you want him to be, but he will be this year. I really do think so. But if he can get better with his ball skills, he'll be one of the best coverage safeties in the NFL this year. I really do think he has that potential. Quandre Diggs, of course, Quandre Diggs is so reliable. He's getting a little older, though, so see if he loses a step, but one of the most underrated players in the NFL. Josh Jones, meh. He's been solid, I guess, but definitely a disappointment as a backup safety. Ryan Neal, huge hitter guy. This guy can make massive hits. He just gets hurt a little bit. Not only that, though, he's not the most sure tackler, for sure. But I really do like the safety. Okay, I'm not going to give him an 8 here just for the fact that that's a little out there. I'll put it that way. Yeah, but it's still 16 out of 20. This is probably the best part of their team other than their wide receiver core. Yeah, I think that's fair. Time for this defensive overall average and grade. Okay, this defense, the average comes out to a C, and this comes out to 62 out of 100, and it's D. Their defense is like a D. Honestly, I'll give them that because their past defense over the past 2 years has been one of the worst in the NFL, and their talent-wise is even worse than it was. I can't give them a D- or an F because they have come on, they have played well at times, but over the start of the season, over like the whole season in general, they're never really an elite or close to an elite defense. Like, overall. So I gotta give them that D. I don't think they're that much better. I'll give them a C. I'll give them a D+. But they're really not good at all. Like, they're not a good defense. They're not terrible, obviously, but the way this defense is going to be good this year is by just basically sitting back, letting their defensive line do a lot of the heavy lifting. Same thing with linebacker core, making tackles with the line in the run game. And then in pass coverage, Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs just being able to cover, blanket the top of the field. You can't throw deep on them. Underneath, they're just smothered by the corners that should be better, that are pretty good tackling. Yeah, that's his defensive overall grade. I like them, but I don't think they're going to be great. Just with talent and on paper, they're just not that great. Time for the special teams unit. Okay, Jason Myers, in a couple words last year, he was dog water. And the year before, he was elite, though. He was elite in 2020. He was dog water last year, though. Michael Dixon, one of the best punters in the NFL, top 5, definitely. Freddie Swain, actually a pretty bad punt returner, but he does take some to the house. Kick returner G.J. Dallas, really reliable, really good. Tyler one of the best. Honestly, he's probably the best long snapper in the NFL. I'll just be straight up honest there. And overall, they're a pretty darn good special teams unit. They don't give up a lot of big plays, and they really are good at making tackles. To be straight up honest, they have a couple of the best special teams players in the NFL. The one problem I have with them is, though, I'll give them an A-. I'll actually give them an A-. I'll give them an A. I'll be honest. Yeah. They've been really good. Really, really good. 9.67 out of 10. Time is overall team depth grade. Okay. Running back, B-. Wide receiver, B+. Tight end depth, B. Offensive line depth, C. Overall, offensive depth, B-. Linebacker depth, D. Defensive line depth, B-. Pass rush depth, B+. Cornerback depth, C-. Safety depth, B. No, I'll give him a C+. Overall defensive depth, I don't know, C-. Not great. Overall team depth, okay. They have some help. I like it a little bit, but I gotta give them a C-. I don't think it's D tier though, because I do think they have some depth whatsoever. They don't have no depth whatsoever, but they have some depth. That's why I gotta give them a C-. So we have that all in mind. C- comes out to a, what is it called? 4, that is 12. 12 plus 2.33 is 14.30 at 25. Not great whatsoever, but it could be worse. Time for this overall roster grade. Okay, their depth, their overall roster 137 out of 235, which comes out to it's a D+. They're not that good D. This roster is not good. It's really bad, but they've got some pieces. They're not like the worst in the NFL. I don't think there's a roster that's worse than a D though. Being straight up honest with you, there's not a horrible roster this year. That's just the truth about it. There's some pretty bad rosters like this one, but I really don't think there's an F roster like that from what I've seen so far. But D is what they get. Like, subscribe, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. That's the Seahawks 2022 roster grades.
Dalvin Cook, he's going to get a first down, and Dalvin Cook pushes his way toward the end zone.